Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you again. Yeah. So, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Euro nation upon whose ancestral lands our city campus stands. I'd like to pay my respect to the elders, both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodian of knowledge for this land. So, this is our first summit. So we have discussing to our progress of the research project for ARC and NiCE Hub. So this is the second year, so half of our progress. Thank you for your great support. So we have been very successful so far, and then now is we have a last 2 years how we can make sure our research translation, research impact, also completion of all our emerging PhD students. So we have a very dynamic program today. So we have I invite speaker from Korea. He has very experienced for his center. So he organized almost $20 million project for biogas human feces. Also, I was involved some of the urine diversion systems through his project in Korea. And now he has a lot of opportunity in Hong Kong, Malaysia, in Palestine for his technology potentially, so that we can collaborate in the future. Also, it's good time to think about what's the next of our project. So we want to continue our ARC Hub in a different forms, possibly another ARC Hub or another ARC Center of Excellence or CRC, so that the next group B, Professor Joe, he can share and then solution of our next target of the potential project for our CIs and PIs. So we have a very special thanks to Ibrahim to organize this NiCE summit again. So thank you, and give a big hands to him. Very hardworking. Also, Wonjung. So she has we can't see you. So Wonjung also have to organize this conference and then this workshop. Also, thank you for your participation. And we have a answer workshop today, so we can have a very good discussion. So it's not about conference. This is more about progress. So you can ask a lot of aggressive questions to your CI or possible collaboration. So this is the close. Most of them are our collaborators, also our CIs, PIs. Also, we have some Zoom presentation from Benedict, also some of people from the Griffiths. So we can also connect with the online. So we can have a good, very productive workshop for today. And before I start, I'd like to introduce the one new face. So you can see there is the Prasanthi Srisastava. So he just joined our AICF as an industry advisory committee member. So Catherine from the CSIRO, she resigned because of her topic is changed, and then now Prasanthi, he's taking care of her role of the industry advisory committee members in our AIC Hub. So can you please introduce yourself, Prasanthi?
Hi, Yogan. I'm Prashant Srivastava. I'm from KSRO Environment Research Unit, based in South Australia. My background has been quite diverse. I started my education in biology and chemistry in early 90s, and then I switched to soil science, focusing on soil fertility and plant nutrition. And then I moved to Sydney, where I did my PhD in environmental chemistry, focusing on metals. Then I started working on radionuclides, and then started working on petroleum hydrocarbons, and now I'm working on PFAS. Along with that, I have also been working on topics like biochar, biosolids, also brine from reverse osmosis process. So I thought my experience from my old place on soil fertility and plant nutrition might be helpful. My experience from biochar and biosolids might be helpful here. So here I am. So I'll be very happy to collaborate with you.
Welcome to joining our AIC NiCE Hub. So as we grow our hub, so we need more industry and the scientific advisory board member to discuss about potential translation, also opportunities. So he's from CSIRO, so he has a lot of research translation experience. So please, you can contact him if you have any opportunity to work on some of the research commercialization and translation. And today we have also a very long day until 6 o'clock. So we have a full session. So we will briefly introduce what's the progress and then discuss about each project and what's going on and how we can help and then how we can collaborate and then discuss together. So first, I'd like to introduce Professor Jaewon Jo. So he is one of the leading the circular economy for nutrient recovery, also bioenergy in Korea. So he has been working on a lot of house scale as well as the building scale of especially feces. So we focus on our urine, also some of the industrial wastewater resource recovery, but he has been involved feces, and then possibly our next target could be feces from urine to feces for the biogas production as well as the nutrient. So please join me welcoming his talk and the experience, and he will share his success story as well as what's the next step of his project. Thank you.
Good morning. First, I'd like to correct what Professor Jones mentioned. I'm not successful. I actually failed with my project. The last 7 years, I did my best, but with collaboration with other persons with other majors. So that's tremendous difficult. So I feel I understand that's almost impossible to collaborate with other persons with different disciplines. So that's the first correction. The second one, please do not give me your aggressive question. I'm not that kind of person. Observe all the pressure into my spirit sometimes. So I'm just kidding. So then I'd like to share my experience with my project titled The Science World. I already mentioned today before yesterday, first day of the conference. So Science World is I started this the project. I didn't know, so I made it actually. So there are this is big the project for the first time. So almost over 100 teams actually proposed. So only 2 teams are selected. So I did not expect it. I was accepted. That's so surprised. And after that, I actually stuck in barriers and a lot of stress around that. So I decided to different my actions and strategy. First one, so I'd like to shorten. I'd like to shorten at that time some size of a loop and circle with the material, for example, water and the feces and urine and whatever that is, I selected. So then I did that from the scratch. So second one, so with my team is about the 50 faculties. 50 faculties is about $10 million project for the 7 years. So then I'm thinking, so I'm engineer, of course. So I'm half a scientist and most of my blood is from engineer. So I decided what kind of things are needed to convince and persuade the persons with a different discipline. Because a discipline is their own, our own identity and pride sometimes. If you attack your discipline, for example, if you are chemical engineer, for example, so if other persons, the chemist and civil engineer attack you with your discipline, so you are not stable, right? So then the discipline should be preserved. With this discipline, so we cannot collaborate. Think about it. So I'm not sure, I'm not talking about your team, but in general, so discipline should be kept. So from biological persons, so they have their own discipline. Civil engineer, their own discipline. The chemical engineer, of course, and biological person. So how we can actually resolve all the conflict with this discipline. So because the department is very much the stable area to be protected with war. So then we have to approach to the area of a boundary layer, I believe. So in that, so with that, so I'd like to design one idea. So I asked my team to come to some of the boundary layer where one pavilion there. Okay, I built it. Over there, one pavilion you can see, right? So inside the campus, I built that. So then I ask every the member of my team, so bring your own inventions, bring your own result of your research and experiment. So some person brought toilet, they designed. So artists designed their toilet into this pavilion. Now someone brought their biological anaerobic digestion into it. Okay, and then another person bring their membrane process to separate carbon dioxide from methane, for example. So then all these things. So I didn't ask them for the first year of my project. Please do not conduct any research at all. Just getting to think about all over again from the bottom. So that's the pavilion. So then invited the students and the public of the city adjacent to my university, which is Ulsan city. Then from the Seoul, of course, they visit with the family and to all things to experience their with a toilet inside in it. And then we brought those poo into biological process. At that time, so we deliver by hand, actually. So we didn't have any delivery pipeline at all. So we brought that. So research is doing that. So we don't need any discipline at all, actually. So then we actually broil okay, broiled, provided food to the bacteria anaerobic, and then they produce methane. So we have a balloon inside in it. So balloon connected to actually cooking machine. So that then children actually experience those types of that. So then inside in it, so someone from the Korean government actually so visit here. So nothing recent, no research is going on. So what happened here? So they very angry for the first time. But I insist. So we have to actually broke or war between our discipline. That's very important, I believe. So that's why we moved into some kind of a transition period with a different notion, without any object, even if we have a material. So we don't have any material object at all. And then, so that's the kind of a festival, right? So research festival, so we need what? Music, right? So I ask students to actually celebrate the project. That's the first one. So they compose this one. So this is the students of UNIST. So they experience inside the pavilion. So they compose some music. So they play this one. 4 seconds. So please enjoy this. So rhythm. So they made it kind of sad to me at that time, because I'm so stressful. Okay, this is pavilion. So we design it. So the design by artists, of course, and architecture. So we have architecture teams inside my team, and the musicians and violinists. So the one half of the teams belong to scientists and engineer. The other team is humanity, psychology, the social anthropology, so the artists as well. So we get together, but we design together with the artists. Artists actually have a leading role, but engineers says we have to be pavilion looks like herb of the honeybee comb, for example, because those structures. So we believe from scientific experience. So high power to absorb energy as much as possible from the sun. There should be that's it. So that's we build this one. And then how many person visited for 1 year? 2,000 person actually. So from China, from UK, I'm not sure from Australia, but from US, okay. So he visited, and the China, of course, and Japan, the domestic area. So a lot of actually, we don't have to convince other persons through media. So China is visited, and they actually broadcast. So please look at, I'm not sure you understand Chinese. This is the second year, okay? CCTV is economic channel of the China. This is campus of UNIST I belong to. Okay, that's a pavilion, right? Okay, so that's the second year. So everything is we warm up. So sometimes we forgot we have a certain discipline, okay, of a civil engineer and environmental engineers and artists and musicians and psychologists, anthropologists. So we actually, I think, ready. So readiness, right? So that's the time that you mentioned the readiness of a kind of the friendship. So we ready for friendship. We ready for something to set forth. So kind of things. So we were ready, and then we decide this is a third year. So we would like to deliver or transfer all the facilities, all our spiritual movement into actual house and the laboratory at that time. So then we start to design architecture and things. So based on our experience from the pavilion, and then we think the toilet area should be like that with these types of functions. So that's the way we designed this one. Inside the campus, we name it as a science cabin, but the Korean name is a little bit different from this one. Korean name is 과일집. It's actually 과 is a science. The 일 is everyday life. Zip is a laboratory. So we would like to build this house of a laboratory where we can do every scientific and humanity activity and economic activity inside this laboratory. So that's why we name it. So that's the science cabin. And then please look at this one. This is the design configuration. So please look at the left-hand side. So place lab, we have engineering inside in one house. So we live there. If you visit there, so you can stay in the place lab, and then you have to use what? Toilet. And then you drop your poo. So poo actually delivered to the engineering lab. Okay. Engineering lab, of course, they have a storage bank and biological anaerobic digestions. So then we have a boiler, okay, to the boiled water to supply the hot water into this house for shower. And we have the connections from the storage tank of methane to the kitchen, so we can cook. And the second floor, and we have the studio as well. So in there, so visitors stay there, the students visit to discuss about something, and they play the violin, and then we can enjoy. And so get together is very important. So please remember why Professor Timothy Bernard-Lee in Oxford in 1989. So he used a different language from ours, a hermeneutic language. So he used what? HTML language. Why? He used HTML language to open World Wide Web. So without any interpretation of a meaning, we just start our communication. Then we connect it to make what? The valuable, the meaning. So that's the why. So we use his idea. So to make this one, to summon all the people into this the places, and then we can have a value, whatever that is. So that's my design. So and this is PV toilet. So we designed this one with the help of the artists and engineers and biological persons. So then you can see, so a poop side and pee side, right? So separated each other. So we have a couple of the phase progress of it. So first time, so we just made it and use it, and we collected all the opinion and complaints, so the difficulties, and then we changed the design and over again. So we made this one using the plastic collected from recovery or reuse the plant. So then we give them the design. So they actually melted all the plastic pellet, okay, into this one, and then we coated with the ceramic to protect the minimum actually stain out of your poo. So then that's the design of that. So then while we have a left-hand side, we have an engineering lab. The right-hand side, so we have a living lab. So with glass wall. So we would like to break the glass wall. Okay. So then left-hand side, then you can see the biological anaerobic digestion bad. This is not bad at all, but name is bad. So then they produce what? Methane. So methane connected to the biogas, the tank storage tank. Then biogas connected to the kitchen with this stove. So we cooked when you staying in this one. Then we actually this one. So we are slowly interested in some kind of item. from the opinion, so they are complained from the people who stayed this the science cabin, and then when we did experiment to overcome, to tackle those obstacles. So that's the smooth transition from the just gathering, starting of a communication, and then we have a research with a specific with item. And then someone asks you, you are a biological person, you are a chemical engineer, you are environmental engineer, you have a responsibility to solve this one. That kind of a communication actually urge and stimulate and other persons to do the specific the research. So this is biological digestions to accommodate about 20%. Okay, we designed this one. So then the 20%, the poo and the food waste as well. Okay, so this is a comparison between human. This is already Korean, sorry about it. But this is production rate of methane with the human and the food waste, even the toilet paper produce of this one. You don't have to separate the toilet paper. There's a cellulose and the feed bacteria in it. And this is the urine. Okay, with the urine, not solely urine. This is from dog. This is from a cow. So then we compare every the rate of the production of the methane. So that then we have something ideas how we can handle these things by extending this one. So this is summary of this one. Okay, we have a kind of a system of this one and methane. Also, we have a fuel cell. Okay, with a capacity of 3 kilowatt. So, for solar panel, we just operate to generate electricity for about a day, about 3 hours, 4 hours, and most 5 hours, right? But with the methane, how long actually can we operate this fuel cell to generate electricity? 24 hours, right? So this 3 kilowatt is not small at all. So with this one, we have a company to collaborate with one, and they kindly supported the fuel cell, and then we generated electricity with the methane from our poo. So then we use this electricity for the living. This is kind of a unit that we used. So then how we can actually convince people to be part of this project or government persons. So we analyzed, once again, I already mentioned this one the day before yesterday. So based on a business model using benefit to the cost. It's a BC about 0.8. Somebody mentioned 0.8 is not enough to convince them to make this project successful. Okay, but we have a different approach because we have economists as well inside my team. So they use a different approach with a so-called willingness to pay. So we ask about the 2,000 persons whether they get involved with these types of toilet, because even though they pay additionally to the flushing toilet, so about 80% of the persons, so they would like to pay about a month, about $15 US. So then we have energy, and then that's the different proceeding the business model over the BB toilet. Okay, of course we have urine teams. Okay, that's supported by UTS, the Professor Sean. So I don't want to spend too much time with this one. I'm not good at the urine. Of course, we have two different. So we have a recyclable water. So inside the science cabin, we have two different tabs. If you visit that, so you found two different tabs. One supply municipal tap water, okay, from the municipal water treatment plant through the water pipeline, so we can use. The second one is from water reclamation facilities inside the science cabin. So you can select both one. So the ones that we have visitors, and so then we announce we have two different tap, two different water. Even after using a toilet, you can use the left-hand side or left-hand side. If you believe our scientific proof, because we measure all the water qualities more than 70 items, we guarantee the safety of this reclaimed water. So someone actually believe us. So to use this reclaimed water. But of course, the other persons they didn't believe us. Just to use tap water. So that's all the experience and data for us to get those one into our research things. Okay, so those activities advertised through 250 media throughout 3 different countries. Okay, so that's the almost successful with this one. This is summary of the schematic diagram. And then once again, so I started the first time. So 2 different directions, right? The first one, what is it? To reduce size of a circle within this material circulations. Even if we succeed to the shorten the circulation of the pool, but that's not enough, because I already mentioned that if we focus on the circular economy and other sustainability technology activity with the money, and then the money actually sometimes help us to convince people to be a part of our activity, but actually sometimes, more often than not, they screwed up all the process, because this is too powerful tool of communications. The people sometimes prefer to communicate only with the money. So my grandmother, imagine that. So they try to communicate with their grandson, granddaughter. Okay, when the children young, so the successful, so they like conversation with the grandma, right? But they grow up, what happened? They never actually enjoy to talk with the grandma, right? And at that time, grandma used what? Money to communicate. So in this society as well, so a lot of different times, so the people are actually very difficult to convince and communicate with the other person. And then we use what? Funding, right? So that's the sad story of this one. So that's why I prefer and propose a token. So we have a big gap, the communication meaning and only money, a big gap. And to narrow down this one, I propose. This is only one of my opinion. So the token actually have a story, a meaning in it, opposite to the context of the money. Money does not have a meaning at all. So just very powerful. That's why they're very powerful, because they don't have any the format and context in it, but they powerful. But sometimes we prefer to use different tools to communicate. So that's why we propose what? Token of a physics standard money. So we designed this one. So we designed platform. So if you use the toilet, you got the physics standard money token. So if you use this one, you tap on there, so you got money out of it, like this. Okay, so one drop of your poo, so you can get 10 physics standard money. So then you can use this token, as I mentioned earlier, right? Inside the campus, because campus one selected the carpet area they accepted our spirit and motivation and philosophy. So they serve 20 a day, 20 cup of coffee a day, because they believe. So token is for a the specific item with a designated person. So then we use this token out of this one. So the students enjoy a lot. So that's the notion, right? The notion of that with these types of that. Please, then we can these types of market, small market, to exchange their valuable things to between each other. Please look at this one. So that's the general everyday lives conjunction with technology all around, and also the philosopher and anthropologists. So they specific order of the economics involved in this the project. So they would like to design some kind of anthropological society with entropy approaching to zero. Because there is no conflict at all. So with money, so we compete each other. But without money, with the token, somehow we reduce entropy down to a little bit approaching to zero. Then we have a little bit different community types of society with the common sense, common values. Okay, so with that, so I ask one person to make this song, and with this is standard money. So please enjoy this song. This is Korean, but and English as well. English letters, English script. The singer is actually a professor in environmental engineering. Okay, so then we come together and collect every idea with this lyric and the musics and everything is get together. So he was a professor of the University of Suncheon as an environmental engineer. Okay. So one German film company, CERN. So they went to visit the campus and science cabin. So they film actually. So they have about 10 the protagonists in this documentary movie, Holy Shit. And so they visit our research team to get all the activity hours and campus life with the students and myself as well. And they made this documentary film by director Rubin Abluna. So they visit a lot of different festival of film. So also they came to the Korean Seoul Environmental Film and Green Film Festival, and this year as well. Also, as one play in New York, so Broadway. So they the play the play. So titles Can Make This Shit Up. So they play with me to make Higok play a script, the script with me, and they played on Christmas in 2022 actually. So the story is like this one. So one town inside New York, so between two villages, they have a NIMBY problems with the conflict with the waste and the solid waste and a lot of food waste as well. So then in the middle of play, they actually called me. So in the middle of that, I actually come up through the Zoom. So the day I suggest this is standard money and the BB toilet and so on. So they actually came to some kind of agreement with the resolutions. So that's the play in New York, actually, the play in New York. They called Off-Broadway with a theater less than of a seat of less than 200. So Broadway theater is more than 200 seats, but Off-Broadway theater, they accommodate less than 200. Of course, we have the market share inside the campus. So at the bottom, so we have a collaboration with the community in India, the name Auroville. So they are spiritual. So they would like to adopt the physics standard money with a toilet inside India. And then, then our team pursued the store outside the campus and near the campus. So that they would like to provide the students with the cafe, nail shops, and food, and the restaurants and hairs. And so about 20 stores at that time. So they accept our proposal to accept a certain amount of their product and the service. Of course, we did not enough succeeded, but I think a lot of spiritual sense, I believe, ideas and the mood and everything is remain in a childhood, children in Korea, in China, and many different places around the world, I believe. So sometimes they revive with toilet and circular economy, different money. So this is it. And of course, so the Hong Kong, as Professor Sean mentioned, the Hong Kong government actually approach and the Malaysian government approach as well. So to build inside Hong Kong, so how many the public toilet do they have inside Hong Kong? Do you guess? 1,000. They would like to rebuild all over again with the idea of the baby toilet, and the gas the productions and to be utilized through the electricity. So Malaysian government as well. So they approach us to build a baby toilet in Gaza refugee at the camp. So before that, they would like to build a pilot facilities inside the food court in Malaysia. So after that, they would like to move to the Gaza, the refugee camp. So that's the old story is actually still alive, I believe. So we only have the container equipped with a baby toilet, but I propose the Professor Sons to join us to the place urine facilities as well inside the baby container for Hong Kong and the Malaysian government for the Gaza. So that's the whole story right now is going on with my project. And thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Joe. Fantastic and inspiring stuff. So next our target will be the Hong Kong and Malaysia and Palestine for the humanitarian engineering using our urine as well as the physics technology we can help our people. So now it's time for discussion. Any question to Professor Joe? Yes, Anthony.
Thank you. I think it was fascinating the way that you combined art and science and music and with the feces money. When they get that token, when they go to use it at a venue, do people know that it came from depositing feces, or can you earn those tokens from many different ways at your university?
So they recognize it from your proof.
So
Absolutely.
when you go to use your money, they know that you've been to the toilet.
Yes.
Okay.
Once you actually log in the platform, so that they explained all the stories behind it. So that's why they agree to be a part of those platform. This is standard money.
Just wondered if that reduced, if there's a stigma associated with using the token, or are they proud to use the token?
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they proud. But the other person is opposed, right? Not everyone actually happy to use these types of tokens. Someone actually concerned because
They're embarrassed.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
The they produce would still the flushing toilet. Why not? And so continue to use a flushing toilet. This is convenient. This is good idea. Why we have to change to the baby toilet alternative way?
Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think very, very fascinating and exciting progress. I just had a question. So in terms of where Australia might be interested in this, I know there's a big movement for off-grid systems. And a lot of spare cash available for people because they've got moral interests to push, right? So how off-grid potential is, the toilet, and I was thinking more to be a biogas in production of electricity so that people could, move towards more of an based around off-grid living as opposed to maybe more like nutrient recovery, but the basis around off-grid, because I know that that's a big
Self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency. There's a lot of people who are very motivated on that principle.
Yeah, so I agree. So so I already mentioned that there are a lot of actually controversies between economic persons, government persons. Even if we provided the economic feasibilities and with the gas out of our feces, but the government persons sometimes are concerned to adopt this one for even newly designed the sector of the urban area, because they have to be responsible for everything. So this is the first time. So they actually sometimes are scared to adopt this one because they have to respond for that. So that's why right now it's early at the stage of the transition you mentioned. So to the methane, even biogas to be electrolyzed to supply the electric cars and not purposes. But we have to wait, I believe. So someone actually slowly move, our species slowly move. That's why I propose we have to begin communication first.
Yeah. was the Australian communications, that these off-grid movements are often independent of government. So they're people who want to and have the money to do so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
communities as well.
Sure.
But,
Okay.
like to deal with waste independently of the sewer system.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
They sort of now take that responsibility on themselves for the regulation.
Okay. Once again, I'm not anarchist, right? But together with and taking aside those authorities of a government,
Yeah.
then we can start actually between us and with the
Well,
Pope.
it's on anarchy. It's
Yeah, okay.
It's all
Okay.
legitimate, but there's just no
Yeah.
movement of the
Legitimate, yes.
free living.
I agree.
That's all up for the
Sure, sure.
There's no breakaway or protest. It's just people who want to live completely off the sewer, water, power networks.
Exactly. Yeah.
These sorts of things.
My question actually relates back to Anne's question. Students that you were showing using the app, were they trading their tokens? Or were they actually just looking at each other's stored tokens?
They are not actually. They are not trained at all. So this is from the perception types of that and intuitive types of that. We try to design this app as intuitive as possible. So that's why the engineers and artists and even anthropologists, they approach to design kind of things. So show up. So we have a handphone. So like a philosopher, so they is everything. But if you have everything in it, so we have to be empty, right? So then if you open the platform app, so it looks like black. And if you touch it, if you attach it, so someone actually some configuration, some design show up, and then the students actually recognize that this is corresponding to the value of a pool they actually donated into this toilet in the science world. So those types of approach we have to adopt.
Sorry, I understand that the
Okay.
app is intuitive. I meant, were they actually trading their tokens?
Okay, I see. Okay, sorry about. Okay, so they did actually. That's why I showed the video. So they exchange token. So they would like to, if one, for example, one child from Gaza. So we connected each other through this app. So we feel the suffer from the children in Gaza. So then I actually selected her or him and into our comrade and family. Then we can actually share our money and by sending those basic standard money into Gaza and other Ukraine and whatever that is. So yes, we can trade. Yes.
I wondered with that trading whether there's an opportunity there to remove that embarrassment, because it may
Sure.
not have been you that created it, may be that you traded.
Okay. Yes.
So this is very inspiring, so thank you.
Thank you.
I did while you were talking, some engineering calculations, that's what I'm doing. So you mentioned 3 kilowatt, that's a fair bit. How many people need to pool to actually get 3 kilowatts? That's the first question. And the second question, maybe it's not a question, but yeah, how many people would we need, for example, in a situation like Gaza where power is not there, to power a small fridge so that a group of people can still refrigerate basic products? So how many people need to pool to be able to run a fridge? So
Okay. So then I already mentioned today yesterday. So one person's provided about 200 gram to the 500 gram of the pool a day in average. So out of this one, we have 50 liter of methane. Those methane are corresponding to in electricity 0.5 kilowatt hour. So then a lot of calculation, of course, but to operate a 3 kilowatt of a fuel cell to be generated to produce electricity is the minimum size of the persons, which are 20%. That's why we built biological anaerobic digestions to be able to accommodate 20 persons. So 20 persons minimum, but more is better, of course. But economic, the value and in a conventional benefit to cost evaluation in economic business models, 100%, then we can achieve 0.5 BC benefit to cost. But in Gaza, for example, so I'm not sure the exact, Malaysian government tried to build 200% in a food court in Malaysia. Okay, so then the Hong Kong government tried to build the BB toilet in the public toilet inside Hong Kong. So approximately in food court and public toilet a day, so the 1,000 person used this one, 1,000 person. So that's the more than enough. But not everyone's dropped the proof. So they use the P and in average, 30%, 300%, I believe. So that's the more than enough, I believe, because 100% is kind of a threshold number of the persons of the pool to generate a 3 kilowatt electric fuel cell to generators. This is just the average the number. From our the 7 years, not 7 years, 5 years experience of
Any other? Yes. Thank you so much for a very insightful presentation. I had a question similar to what was asked before. For a household that has a 4-member family, if they want to have a biogas system at home that takes feces as well as food waste and garden waste and all those things, what sort of cost are we looking at to have that kind of system at home, which would partly offset the energy cost as well?
Okay, so that's the good question. So for the small or household with the 4 families, I believe, for example, is we don't have to, or we cannot have any biological anaerobic digestions. So the fancy one. So from a website, so we can have a lot of FRP types of biological anaerobic digestion from Amazon. So it's about a couple of hundred US dollar, I believe. So you can build very easily. But if you have 20 persons and 30 persons in an apartment and a complex or food court and or the refugee camp, so then the more than 100 persons, so I think we have to build the biological anaerobic digestions using stainless, I believe, for safety purposes and collecting effective methane into the safe methane storage tank, I believe. But in general, for a small house, I think a couple of hundred US dollar is more than enough, I believe.
The last question.
There's more the comment, a suggestion. In Australia, we've got eco-tourism resorts like Kingfisher Bay on Ngari, which is Fraser Island in Queensland. And they already have lots of ecological footprint. You know, when you use the shower, use the towel, it tells you. They might be very interested because to protect Fraser Island for a start, you know, the water table and everything, it could be a great place to approach to set up this urine and feces. They'd be very interested. I think they already have a composting thing for their toilet. So
Right. Food waste as well.
yeah, got connections.
And the Hong Kong and this the project in Hong Kong and Malaysia through the Gaza is successful. So I really actually ask you to be part of those physics standard money token community, right? So then you donate your token from your dropping pool in the morning and send those money into the Gaza area and Hong Kong area and then China and even North Korea, right? And then so that they can use to buy something to eat and save drinking water, and so they can dream to study in Australia, UTS, sometime in the future, right? With those token types of money, I hope. Okay, thank you very much.
So we can next project group be Department of Foreign Affairs. So Dara, you have a lot of good connection with DIFA, so we can try to connect with some of the humanitarian engineering in Palestine as well as Hong Kong. So that could be a good collaboration. We can work with Professor Bibi, Professor Jones Bibi, technology. Also, next our summit, we can organize like a music concert. A lot of you have your own composed music. So now we can make a music using AI. So we can go over. So we have a lot of our own technology, make a similar way of the AI, music. We can have a good, delivery of our message.
I'm happy to.
Thank you for joining for his great presentation.
Thank you.
So let me briefly explain what's the progress of the NiCE AIC Hub. So we will have a fantastic progress for last 2 years. Then thank you for your dedication and very hard working to reach this level. Then we can celebrate what we have done so far, and then think about what's the next. So we have 2 years already. Very successful, our achievement. The next 2 years, slowly we can think about what could be the next, our opportunity. We can make commercialization or research translation. Also, we can have some of the CI or more in-depth collaborative activity. And next project could be nitrous oxide. Yesterday, the David, he made a very good presentation of what's going on for nitrous oxide, methane, and CO2 in wastewater treatment plant. So we can save a lot of nitrous oxide in a wastewater treatment plant, so that we can target. There are many opportunities we can capture. Also, Professor Joe's idea, very fresh idea for feces and urine, as well as the food waste, and how we can combine, make a good application opportunity, eco-village in Queensland, maybe other area in Palestine, Hong Kong. Also, there are many opportunity we can grab for next couple of years. So we can now think about after 2 years, AIC Hub, what's the next step we can go, and then we need your help to give a brilliant idea to go for the next project to continue our mafia research opportunity and then working together. So last year we had a AIC Hub Summit, the 2023 September. Now is we are 2024. After 1 year, what we have done so far. So this is the Circular Economy Conference we organized the last 2 days. So we also engaged more time. So 1 day is not enough for our summit, so that we connect with our CEC conference, and then successfully, we complete yesterday. Now is the summer, people already enjoy the technical tour, and then we will have more people during the lunchtime. And next year, Stefano will organize the Melbourne CEC 2025 together with Michael Duke and the Melbourne people. So CIPI is very much engaged with this conference. So happy to demonstrate our trailer of the mobile U-Gold system, U-Over system. We can demonstrate NiCE technology in Melbourne. So we are almost complete, and we will demonstrate in Melbourne conference. Also, we are trying to make a good exemption of the New South Wales EPA to commercialize our fertilizer. Already you have butters, and we have a website, LinkedIn and Twitter every week. I'd like to acknowledge the Ibram and Wanjung, keep updating what's going on. So if you have any good news or publication or another project, so please let us know. We can continuously promote your good news. Also, we submitted our AIC progress report in terms of the finance and your KPI, the publication, the patent, also commercialization. So now it's under review, and then hopefully everything will be okay. And newsletter last month, September. So we already published. Thank you for our newsletter working group. So here a lot of our PhD student and postdoc working very hard to engage our CIPI, our research, and the newsletter is one of our channels to engage our people here. Also, new student already. Yeah, we have now is growing the number of students. So Jordan here and Kelly. Also, we have Kristen, Angels, and Ijang. Also, Mangfu and Joanna Angels over there with Han, and Samili from the Southern Australia, University of the Southern Queensland with Bernadette, and then Peter Harris also from the University of Southern Queensland, Lufu from University of Queensland. So some of them started this year, and welcome to our NiCE hub. Also, we have Ayat from UTS, a new student. Also, we have another new student. Sorry, we didn't list out everybody here. So Niraj is from the Western Sydney University with Jeff. So he's working for the PhD. So our size is getting bigger and bigger. So we need to have a more good idea from our engine of the PhD student. We're looking forward your brilliant idea to go for the next level of the ASC NiCE Hub. Welcome all of you for our student. Also, we had a fantastic sponsorship for the CC 2023-2024. Last year was 75 delegates. This year, just 120. So increase the number of our delegates. Melbourne next year, we expect 200. So otherwise, we will cancel your conference. Yeah. So Stefano and Mike, so you have a very big pressure on your shoulder, so you can achieve the much bigger. I don't want to decrease suddenly from Melbourne conference. So hopefully we can engage more people, and then people are very much interested in this circular economy concept. So Sydney has been very successful for last 2 conferences, and then next year Melbourne. I'm sure there are a lot of Melbourne people also they are interested in this circular economy, circular engineering, circular scientist.
Big representation from Sydney, of course.
Yes, I'm sure that most of people will be joining next year. So definitely, also we will support a lot. And we have very positive feedback also. Last year, we provided 1 circular award. And then this year, we provide 2. So we have a more increasing number of applications. So please, next year, I'm sure that a lot of people here, so you have a lot of good idea, and we have also good technology and the industry engagement. So apply. So next year could be a good opportunity. We will get more application, get the circular award. So this is collaborate with the Circular Australia. So Lisa McLeod, CEO of the Circular Australia, she's continuously support this award together with our CC conference, so that the winner will get almost $1,000 value of the Circular Australia membership. And corporate member is $5,000. So if you just apply your application for Circular Award, $5,000 value of your Circular Award you can achieve. So we have provided 2 Circular Award this year. So hopefully next year, some of you can be individually or corporate level, so you can be a member of Circular Australia. So she's keep updating what's going on for the federal government and New South Wales government level of the circular economy program. So she's also getting the more opportunity for the funding. So they are having connection with the minister directly and then try to invest a lot of research funding opportunity. Also, she mentioned about the circular economy will provide around $210 billion of Australian GDP. Also created 50,000 new jobs. So also government, they are very much investing this area. So I'm sure that we can grab this opportunity to work together to have a more token and funding from our opportunity together with the government. So that's what happened this year, CEC 2023, 2024. I'd like to thank you for your participation for this conference and looking forward to seeing you more so we can have more interaction during the conference. And then after that, we have more idea to get this NiCE summit so that we can think about what's the next we can have further steps. So this is the EPA exemption to commercialize our urine fertilizer. So we need to go through this level. So we are preparing a lot of experiment analysis in terms of the pathogen, virus, and micropollutant, microplastic, and some of the basic consistent NPK ratios. So that's what the EPA want to approve the exemption of the commercialization opportunity. So we are now responding to their request, and then hopefully this year or early next year we can finalize, and the U-Gold could be commercialized. Also, our oval can be commercialized and go for the next step of our research translation. And we have an advisory committee member, scientific advisory committee, industry advisory committee. Already, we briefly mentioned about Prasanthi Sristara. So he's our industry advisory committee member. So some of them joined the late. So can you please stand up and then just briefly introduce one more time for the new people? So he's our new industry advisory committee member. Please. Can you have your name and then brief your introduction again, please?
I'm Prashant Srivastava from CSIRO Environment, based in South Australia, Adelaide. I come from agricultural as well as environmental background. So I'm originally a soil scientist, and I have worked on soil fertility and plant nutrition. I've been working on various emerging contaminants for the last so I guess nice.
Thank you, Prashant. So he has had some of the opportunity to apply our fertilizer because he has experience for some of his biosolid or some of different fertilizer application side. So if you have any idea, you can also discuss with Prashant. Also, we have a lot of international industry advisory committee members. So please feel free. So we organize the meeting and then discuss about what's the strategy we can achieve for our hub, and then they provide a very valuable feedback. One of feedback was standard of the circular economy. Yeah, we are one of the leading group of the circular economy, and still, so we need more standard of what's the meaning of circular economy, what's the circular concept, we can make a good standard for this urine or biosolid or some of the recirculated material. So we like to also collaborate with some of the industry advisory committee member to achieve this kind of strategy. Also, thank you, Dana. She has organized our strategy meeting that we published our strategy for the AIC NiCE Hub. And then we will also continue to achieve our vision and mission, also our value chain, connection of the people, and then discussion. So that's what we have achieved for our AIC NiCE Hub's strategic document. So if you want to see detail, so it's available on the website, so you can see. So we thank you for all the members joined your idea to achieve this document, and thank you, Dana, to have this beautiful document. Thank you very much. Also, website, social media. So we need more information from you. So just a small news or big news, please give us or Ibrahim or Wanjang, so they will announce, and then you can be recognized from our NiCE Hub. Also newsletter and fact sheet, so we can continue to engage with the newsletter more specific and technical, as well as our award. So I'd like to congratulate Carrie and Jordan. Now you can see that they are recording our summit. So they got awarded the podcast winner of the UTS. Can you please explain a little bit of your award, and then so we'd like to congratulate Jordan, please. Yeah, what you're doing now there? He's recording. Yeah, be careful.
So UTS has a podcast channel called Impact Studios, and Carrie and myself, there was a competition that was run where researchers presented their research, and the idea is around translating that research to a broader community. And we think with the kind of stuff we're doing at NiCE Hub, you really need that buy-in from the community to make this stuff happen. It's all well and good to talk about the technology, but getting it to a scale requires buy-in from the community. As we've seen with the poo tokens, it's that educational part of NiCE Hub is really important, which buys into the governance and the marketing of this technology. So yeah, we're creating this podcast where we're really interested in sharing stories about the NiCE Hub and translating that to a broader audience and explaining what it is in the context of a broader food system as well. Yeah, so if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask Kerry. And yeah, we're going to be recording today's summit. And I might just note before we leave today, it'd be really good if we could all sign. We've got some consent forms so that say that you're all okay with sharing any recordings that we get today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan and Kelly, and wish you all the best. Yep, we will keep supporting your competition and the broadcasting. Yep. And one of the very big achievement is our NiCE rule is ready. So it's arriving in November. So you know that I will make a very detailed presentation of this trailer. So we have allocated our technology and the urine diversion toilet, female and male, inside one toilet in one container. So we will try to demonstrate in Sydney, possibly Royal Botanical Garden and the city of Sydney, some of the parks, so we can demonstrate. And then it will move to Melbourne next year. And then we can also showcasing during the conference CEC 2025. So looking forward. So everybody can put the one drop of urine. So we will give a token, and we can share our communications. I have to get his web and then modify it a bit for the UGold or oval technology, so we can also try to implement a new concept together with Professor Joe. So it's almost ready to go. And then we have some activity from the Western Sydney University, UTS, and then technology development, application of fertilizer with the botanical garden. Also, we have a good progress from the AJJ technology. So you know that the UGold technology is already pilot scale is ready. So hopefully, so we can demonstrate in a public park in Brisbane. So the Stefano is pushing very hard. So we visited Melbourne University. They have a very simple toilet. So they have like only simple collection and then bottle. So you can have a urine collection system. And they are doing a lot of experiment with the real urine. And we have a Griffith University consulting workshop, also University of Queensland. They have a good progress of the project. And then Benedict from the University of Southern Queensland, they are applying our fertilizer in the field trial, and then look at the field growth and using the biochar from biosolid pyrocoal technology. So they are progressing very well. And this is the publication last year, 5. And this year we have so far 6. So we have progressed very well in terms of the research publication. Also, we need a more high impact journal, as well as you have some magazine type of the articles. So please send us, and we can also promote your article. So it doesn't matter, not only publication of the research article, but also some magazine type of the article will be a very valuable for our KPI of the ARC NiCE Hub. I'd like to thank you again for our 7 university and valuable 22 industry partners and 3 international organizations. And UNIST, Professor Joe, thank you for coming for this in-person visit. Also, Richards Institute and Switzerland e-work. And what's the next step? Yeah, we will continue to go next step for our fertilizer to get the EPA exemption certification, also safety data set and labeling, and then make a good startup company or some of the spin-off company could be potentially we can achieve. Also demonstrating long-term application. So we have a container is ready for trailer, and then we just move around for our publication, public education, also nutrient circular economy concept demonstration, also real application, and that's we can continue. And some of the nutrient distribution, like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, in a wastewater, nitrous oxide, and that's becoming more and more problem. So we want to get some big data from the Southeast water, and then how we can make sure that reduce what's the opportunity we can reduce this greenhouse gas N2, how we can reduce from urine diversion or wastewater treatment plant or just the sewer pipeline. So that could be a lot of works we can do. And then we need to continue to support Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne, their own project for the scale up. So we are almost there. So next year will be more exciting to look at the real application and then public education acceptance. So I like the professor just the last slide of the children. So we have to also educate people how they are valuable in terms of urine and fish and shit. So we can also connect with our next generation of the circular engineers, scientists, and policymakers. So this is the another next. We have a conference next week, not from our group. It's Lisa McLean. She's organizing the Australian Circular Economy Conference. And this is online only. 10th of next week, 10th of October, Thursday. So if you go there, Australian Circular Economy Conference, so there is registration. So this is a free voucher, CECE 100. So if you want to join, so they organize only half day from 9 to 12 or 9 to 1 o'clock. So a lot of industry people, also government people get together and then have a more strategic approach of the circular economy. So I strongly recommend you join this one because it's free. Yep. So CEC, don't forget CEC 100. So you can put your voucher code, and then you can register. And then we have a nutrient reuse and recovery conference. One of our CIs, Leoya from University of Queensland, she's organizing the IWA Nutrient Reuse and Recovery Conference November. So if you're interested in more technology, so a lot of European people and then world expert coming to discuss about how to recover nutrient from water, wastewater. So that's their target. So you can join the Brisbane in November 22nd. Also, PhD to them. We like to continue to support, have a more engagement for the PhD student, research assistant, and the regular meeting with our advisory committee members. Also, progress report. End of this year, early next year, we need to use information to finalize the finance as well as the KPIs. And then last but not least, the fifth NiCE Summit will be held after CEC 2025 conference. So we have already fixed the date, 22nd to 21st of September, Monday to Wednesday, 2025. And then after that, 25th September, yeah, we will have our next NiCE Summit. So thank you, everybody. And then looking forward discussing for today, so we can have a more valuable outcome and idea and the interaction. Also, thank you, Gary, to join the this summit. And then Gary is also support our CC 2024 as a sponsor, very generous support our project. Also, he has a lot of fertilizer application from chicken shit and then a lot of different renewable way of the fertilizer. So he's the person you can have a good connection to utilize our fertilizer. So please engage with Gary. And thank you again, everybody. And looking forward communicating more valuable your discussion during this NiCE Summit. So any questions? Yeah.
You can always count on me to say something. Of this, all the opportunities that we have, where do we have time to discuss? The idea of a hub is that we collaborate, but all of our papers so far, we're publishing in little silos. We're not really exploring, like the nitrous oxide story has got a great economic modeling benefit that SAID's doing, but we're not really creating the platform online where we can discuss collaborative papers and ideas going forward. So I don't think we ever got that platform right for sharing.
That's the good point. That's exactly what I want to discuss today. So we have now it's good platform, and how we can go for, let's say, nitro oxide problem. Okay, we can target and then or maybe showroom or some of our leading researcher, we can lead and then make a platform. And then we can think about, we can have a good publication target first. We can get some information from the water utility and then how we can make a good information. May think about maybe next project could be one of the good strategy we can see. So yeah, that's the good point. We can now is we can put into the note, and then we will follow up. Who can lead this one? If you want to lead, very happy to support
I think
and
a transdisciplinary
Yeah.
papers would pave the way for next further funding.
Mhm.
So there are health benefits to reducing nitrous oxide, there are economic benefits, but yeah, so.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Yeah, that's the good point. Maybe Dana would be, you have done very great job for strategy meeting document, and then we can also work together.
Develop the strategy about what are the big cross-cutting themes, and we talked about maybe having 3 key working groups on those areas, so we just.
An online paper.
Right.
It's just ideas for papers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have been able to.
I see.
mean, it's, I guess everyone's tight with resourcing and time, so it's got to be an issues that people are directly interested in and relevant to, but it does need someone.
We need to hire different, I know you're busy.
Imran, can you write it down as the action planning? Or to make a working group to have a, yeah?
Imran already, I think, made some Teams channel. For I think for
Yeah.
OCS, but I think there was not much engagement there. I think he tried to ask questions from there. I'm not sure if everybody has access to that. But I think there should be, right after our summit last year, there was a Teams channel that was made, but looks like
Nothing on
it became stagnant, like nobody was really engaging, and it's not probably easy for him to ask, who's gonna do this? Probably somebody has to
No,
ask
have a
questions probably.
responsibility. I think all the
Yeah.
stars have responsibility to sort of say, look, maybe we can create some channels for specific disciplinary topics or something that we can help.
Sub-channels, yeah, sub-channels, yeah.
Right. Okay, so we will write it down, the action, and then how we can, yeah, implement this one. But we need your support. And any other question? Otherwise, yeah, we can start our progress meeting. So I'd like to happy to introduce our Deputy Director of the AIC NiCE Hub, the Stefano Brigella. He will chair this session. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks, Sean. We're going to get started on some of the updates. So we had an amazing start with some really inspiring thoughts. So we hope to keep it up and to show that there's a lot going on. But really, as Anne said, we really need to focus on what more we can do that is cross or transdisciplinary, rather than just updating what we've been doing. So the first update of this session, which is, by the way, urine collection. So we're going to go through the different stages of the NiCE circle: urine collection, session 1, urine processing, session 2, and then after lunch, we will do fertilizer optimization, session 3, and fertilizer application, session 4. So the first update is by me on a project with Southeast Water, downstream effects of urine and its conversion to liquid fertilizers. So collecting urine is good, but the question that we had is, what does it do to the wastewater treatment infrastructure that was not designed for a situation with reduced urine? So this is what we are doing. It's one PhD project, so it's one of the small projects within NiCE, but we are really generating some exciting data, as I hope to show you in the next few minutes. So project overview, I won't go through extensively because I already told you what this is about. We just want to assess not only the value of fertilizers that we produce from urine, but what are potentially the impacts of taking that urine out, because urine is only 1% of the volume in our sewage, but accounts for 80% of its nitrogen. It accounts for 50% of the phosphorus and a similar ratio for the potassium. So it's a big player when it comes to nutrients in sewage. Also, it is a big player in terms of the salinity of the sewage, so electrical conductivity, and also the alkalinity. So its ability to buffer against changes in pH. So things might not work in the way we know when we take some urine out of sewage. Sean and I published this paper based on modeling. That was, I think, was it 2022 or even earlier? So we ran some models, BioWin for the wastewater treatment plant, and SUEX model together with my colleagues at UQ for the sewer network, and we found that everything looked mostly positive. So taking urine out of sewage would lead to a reduction in the energy consumption for wastewater treatment, reduced footprint of wastewater treatment plants, and potentially no impact on the sludge production rate. But we don't know about sludge characteristics. So this question triggered this project. Well, do we trust that model? That model is not built for situations without urine. So we need to kind of do something experimentally. But there's no place in the world where we can actually access sewage without urine, because, well, we do have some urine diversion here, but it goes straight into the sewer, and the sewer is not just generated by this building. So it's just merging with the sewage coming from upstream. So where can we go? Well, actually, that is the next step. We actually have not fully identified how to do a study on real sewage, but we're working with Southeast Water to try and potentially move into a next phase project where we are looking at a small catchment in a more regional area, and inspired by last year's talk by the guy from Vermont. What was his name? The American guy? Abram. Yeah. So over there, they actually had a system where they engaged people locally. They gave them jerry cans. People were returning the jerry cans and full, and they were getting empty ones. And there was, I think some token type of rewards. And I think that in an Australian context, we'll need to think about what a token would be. And in my opinion, it would be a cause of Woolies voucher, considering the cost of living crisis. And a lot of people would happily donate. But we'll need a small community, small catchment, so a small wastewater treatment plant. So if we can actually find one, and we're working on looking for one at the moment, then this would be quite an interesting project. But we couldn't wait for this. So with our PhD student, Chen, all we could think about is let's just cook it up in the lab. And so we actually did this with synthetic wastewater. But we have a lot of recipes for synthetic wastewater that are working quite well. But in this case, we had to use 3 recipes. One for the fecal matter, one for the gray water, and one for the urine. And they needed to be tested and reliable. So there was a huge literature component here to actually find what a good recipe is. You stuff it up, you get the wrong recipe in, and all your data make no sense. So that is a little bit of the risk. But in the lab, we set up a few of these columns. They are bioreactors working in a sequencing batch mode. So in wastewater treatment, most full-scale systems are continuous, but a few sequencing batch systems exist. And we have some medium-scale ones in Melbourne as well. So this is quite a valid way to test it with a sequencing batch reactor. Sequencing batch reactor, for those that are not wastewater experts, consists of filling the reactor with your wastewater and then doing several phases. So to simulate, so first we feed, and then we have an anoxic phase, no oxygen. That is what is done in a wastewater treatment plant. You have anoxic tank followed by aerobic tank. So here is anoxic stage followed by aerobic stage. So first no oxygen, then blow air through it to oxidize ammonium to nitrate and COD to carbon dioxide. That ammonium becomes nitrate. Then we need to reduce it to nitrogen gas. In a continuous system, this is done by recycling. In an SPR, is done by decanting only a small fraction of the wastewater so that the nitrate stays in, and then you can denitrify in the next loop. So I've got the recipes here, not that is very interesting, but you might wonder, how do we make feces at home? Like fake feces. And so this is actually a lot of people are quite curious about it. So I think it's a good engagement piece because everyone loves poo, and when you tell them you can actually make it in your kitchen, then it's even more exciting. So. But they're quite established, and it consists of mostly food ingredients, which is exactly what goes into poo in the first place. So yeast extract, cellulose.
Is that Vegemite?
No, I mean, pretty much. But in the lab, we buy it as yeast extract because you can't have food products in the lab. Cellulose, psyllium, miso paste, and then you add other elements. So it is not quite looking like poo, but it will have a similar organic content, similar nutrient content, a similar water content. So water in poo is typically, I think, 70%. So although they look solid, it's really still 70% water, and so we need to account for that. Interesting fact: we tried this, and it actually didn't work at all for quite some time, and then more literature research. And we came up with a few hypotheses that why, so the nitrification was not happening at all. And then after brainstorming session with the supervisors and the student, we added sodium molybdate. So it seems like those nitrifiers were missing molybdenum, which is needed for some of their cofactors. Put that in and it worked beautifully. So that shows you how difficult it is to work with synthetic wastewaters. Just how do you find that one missing ingredient? And so we actually got lucky. After that, it started working very well. But is this truly representative of real feces? Well, it's not going to be the same. So we really hope to be able to move into that next study, which probably will happen after the end of the NiCE hub, but it will be a nice follow-up. So, and the gray water is much easier because it's much better characterized. And urine, I don't even show it because we're now very, very good at making urine in the lab in a way that really mimics urine's composition, well, except for the 80,000 chemicals in it that are present in very small traces, but they're not going to affect what we're trying to do here, which is demonstrating how wastewater treatment works in the absence of urine. So quickly, a few graphs. So the one on the left here is base case, no urine diversion. So you can see the different phases here in different colors. So time is the x-axis, and then you can see the concentrations of the different nitrogen species versus time, as well as COD on the right axis. So in our case, about 45 minutes was the anoxic time that was needed to drop the nitrogen down to around 0.5 milligrams per liter, which was our criteria for end of anoxic. And then we start aerating. And when you aerate, you can see that the blue line takes off, that's nitrate production. The red line comes down, that's ammonia consumption, working quite well, not much nitrite accumulation. And so we dropped to where we wanted to be, 0.5 milligrams per liter at about 140 minutes. So you can see the aerobic phase is going to be longer than the anoxic phase. But that kind of made us feel good about our recipe, because this is really as expected based on real sewage. So real sewage behaves like this. So we're happy with that. And then we started to take some urine out. So put less urine into the mix. So a 25% urine diversion on the right, you can see some changes. This confirmed the results of the modeling I did with Sean back then. The anoxic phase shrinks quite a bit already, almost irrelevant. 7 minutes and you're pretty much done. So that's very fast denitrification. And the aerobic phase, we are expected to remain the same. We're finding actually it takes a bit longer. And why? It's because while ammonia depletion is occurring as fast, you have nitrite accumulation. So the nitrite oxidation start to suffer somehow for some reason. But that is not a big deal here. But then when we go to 50 and 75%, this becomes a little bit worse. So again, those 5 minutes anoxic, we still have it simply because we need to feed. And it takes 5 minutes to actually put the wastewater in. So we still call it anoxic phase, but effectively, we don't need any anoxic phase. And that's what our modeling paper showed. So confirming that, because we have less and less nitrate in the system because we are taking the urine out. So we are working with reduced nitrogen loads. But the nitrite accumulation problem worsened with urine diversion. And at 75%, you can see that now you don't need any anoxic phase, but the aerobic phase has become much longer. And so that hits you back. Yeah. So this is our result. Are these applicable to real sewage and to a continuous system? We don't know. But at least we confirm some of the modeling results. And but this is a warning. When we are removing all this urine from the mix, this potentially could be an issue. Like this is an issue for our synthetic mix. Potentially, likely will be an issue even with real sewage. So overall, though, there's been an improvement, confirming to some extent the modeling data from 2021. When you divert some urine, then you can feed more wastewater for a given period of time. And that's because when that nitrogen is not coming in, you don't need to spend time to oxidize it. And that's sort of the rate limiting step, oxidizing ammonia to nitrite, nitrite to nitrate. You drop those down, and so you can actually feed more wastewater. So therefore, for the same reactor volume, by diverting 25% of the urine, you can actually treat 30% more wastewater. So that's really the very promising result here, because a lot of our treatment plants are running at capacity, designed and built in the 1950s to 70s, with population growth and the additional challenges related to lifestyle and consumption, we're not able to treat more. But our catchments are growing. And so water utilities are looking at ways to avoid investing in large upgrade of infrastructure.
And this could play a role. It is nice to see that you don't need to divert a lot. So that diversion, 0 to 25%, tells us that the moment you start diverting a small fraction, you already get pretty much the same percent benefit in terms of additional capacity. So you could accommodate 25, 30% more people in one catchment if you could take 25% of the urine out of the system. So, and if we're looking at 5%, it might be something that we can actually do in some of the catchments. Unfortunately, experimental data show there's no additional benefit. The modeling was saying that it was marginally getting better, but this data, because of the slow nitrite oxidation that we did not predict with BioWin, tell us that we divert more urine and we don't get more capacity beyond that 25-30% mark. So that's quite an interesting result. That doesn't mean that it's not worth doing it. If we can, we really need that nitrogen and phosphorus to put back into our circular economy for food production at some point in the future, but we won't get benefits. At the same time, we're not killing it either. So that means, I mean, those bacteria are still working, the sludge still working, and it's just not working better, but it's not dying either. So additional results that are being packaged at the moment by the students, so I don't have graphs. Sludge production per cubic meter of wastewater increases, but not dramatically. And that is expected. The modeling predicted that too. That's because we're transferring some of the anoxic growth to aerobic growth. And with oxygen, bacteria grow a little bit better. So we're making a little bit more sludge. And note that the COD, the organic matter, has not been diverted at all. We're only diverting nitrogen and phosphorus. Good news, sludge volume index. So the settleability of the sludge has not been affected. So we ran these experiments over a period of 1 year. So there was plenty of opportunity for failure, but the sludge kept settling well. So that's good. That's really great news. And that's where we were concerned. We didn't know whether the sludge would start behaving strangely. Greenhouse gas emissions, the work is done. And overall, we're producing less, mostly looking at N2O. Because N2O is coming out of both nitrification and denitrification. And we're reducing it because we're not putting that nitrogen into the wastewater treatment. So, but unfortunately, per gram of nitrogen that goes into treatment, we're making more N2O. Just like the nitrite accumulation I showed you, we have more N2O production. More N2O production per gram of nitrogen coming in. Fortunately, because we are diverting some of the nitrogen, that nitrogen doesn't get a chance to form N2O. So overall, we are still doing better than base case. But the hope was we would kill it, but not really. But whether then this is applicable to continuous system and real sewage is yet to be determined. So one proposed collaborative project here is doing a life cycle assessment for greenhouse gas emissions for these fertilizers. Now we have shown that N2O production in the treatment has reduced, but how much N2O is going to come out when we use them as fertilizers? So, and how does that compare to conventional fertilizers? So this is for discussion later. And to conclude, this is future work for the next 12 months. Chen is going to look at the effects on sewer. So it's going to create, still in the lab, a rising main and the gravity sewer pipe. And there the idea is to work out with urine diversion what happens to the critical processes that occur in sewage, particularly formation of sulfide and formation of methane gas and potential release, and whether there's any effects on the microbial community that lives in biofilm on the sewer. So that's the update for this project. We leave questions for the end. So hold on and just don't forget it. don't forget your questions, but that's the way we're structuring it. That's because then those questions can become a little bit more interdisciplinary. So the next update is from Bezad, from UTS. Bezad project is a novel sustainable ground stabilization, adopting calcium carbonate precipitation using urine.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. That's very exciting summit. I think this NiCE hub and CES conference is quite fun. I think that's one of those conferences when you talk about poo and urine, everyone seems fine to name them. You know, my son loves to attend these conferences because every time this name comes up, he's so much, happy actually. I will bring him next time because we refer to it number one, number two, blah, blah, but this is quite fun. Anyway, so in this project, we are looking at extracting some stuff from urine and replacing the cement basically that we use in construction in very short term. You might have heard about BioBreak, but we are utilizing it for more add value for infrastructure and so on. So my CIs, Professor Hadi Khabbaz, who is here, also our PhD student Niti, who has been working tirelessly last a year and a half and so, and our industry partners. So it's just I present on their behalf. So I will skip this. So in this particular project, we are looking at improving the infrastructure built on top of closed landfills. So as you know, because of the continuous urbanization, increasing population and so on, a lot of lands that we need to build our infrastructure are not that great. And many projects, particularly, for example, in Sydney, I know it's same in Melbourne, many parts of roads and railway lines may need to cross the old landfills, which are not suitable grounds for built infrastructure because they are very weak and they settle over a long time. That's why you get a lot of cracks on the roads, or they close the railway lines every some time for maintenance. And these two projects are two in Sydney. One is a road project and a spaghetti junction sort of thing you see, and the other one in western part of Sydney, which is a railway project built on landfill part of it. One of the techniques used to stabilize these grounds and making it more suitable for construction is addition of cement. So in Australia, cement generally is cheaper than lime. In Europe, lime is also very popular. So basically they mix the cement with the material or inject it in the ground and basically improve it. So which has got, I'm sure everyone knows that the generation of or creation of cement is one of the biggest producers of CO2 emission, which counts for 8% of the world carbon dioxide emission. So there is a great basically incentive there to find alternatives to replace the cement basically. So the idea of the project is that, for example, for landfills, so what we will do is that we get the urine, we mix it with some stuff. I will show you the formula of that. And then basically you generate the cement in situ. So therefore the ground becomes stronger. Same concept, of course, in a lower level applies to BioBreak to make the brick out of clay. So this has been explored. So in terms of the formulation, how it works, this process, we call it biocementation, not artificially cementation, but bioproducts. So you get the urine using a urease enzyme that some bacteria in the soil basically create this enzyme. Then this catalyzes and then basically separates ammonia and bicarbonate. And then we add a separate calcium source. And then this basically precipitates inside the soil as the, calcium carbonate, which is a natural cement. That's why many rocks, of course, are much stronger than soil, because over time they have been naturally cemented, right? So that's why we are very much familiar with it. So in simple form, so you will get the urine that has urea, for example, which is the main part of our work, with a lot of water, which is urine, with urea's enzyme because of the bacteria. You create bicarbonate, we add calcium, we create calcium carbonate. Still ammonia and ammonium, of course, will be generated, which is some sort of issues for us. So, and then the reason we add this calcium chloride is that one is that we need a calcium source, of course, to create the cement, and the other one is that we need to maintain high pH to prevent the urolithic activity to lose the urea that we need. So the test we are doing, or I will show some results, is on the landfill waste. We will compare it with cement and lime and this new treatment, and we do a bunch of tests that generally they are mechanical tests. So we do, of course, some other chemical tests and so on, but we want to see how much stronger is it, how fast water flows through it, and so on. So the initial test that we have done is that we have collected the actual landfill material from a site here near in Sydney. Of course, it's a very big job to collect the actual landfill material, which is composed of, this is a composition of it, composed of wood, 19%. You have got fibrous material like clothes and so on, plastic, paper, glass, soil, and gravel. So fair bit of it is soil and gravel, as you can see, but it's a lot of other materials in the landfill we have. And this is not a municipal landfill. This particular one is an uncontrolled landfill, which are quite a number of them around Sydney, but they are not municipal. So it's fair bit of apparently construction waste and so on went there. So the idea of the project is that we will do this work in 2 steps. So in the first one, which is the stimulation stage. So what we are doing there is that we will grow the population of bacteria, existing bacteria in the soil. So we are, or in the landfill. So we are not adding extra bacteria or microbes or so. Whatever is there, we feed them, so they will grow in population. That's what we need. And the food that you see here is a yeast extract, and this first column, basically. And urea is part of that. In the second stage, while the population of bacteria has increased, now we will add this calcium source through calcium chloride. And now with the existence of bacteria, so it will generate that cement that I just showed you in the previous stage. So that's what we are doing. So we have experimented this. This is a setup we have done in the lab. NiCE has been working on that for long. We did quite a number of experimentation, but this one seems the most optimal one. So basically we have a suction on top. So what you see here, and then we get the basically, sorry, the suction is on top. So we inject the material from the base, that solution of the yeast plus urea and so on, and then we collect it from top. So we have got an inflow and outflow, and then we just treat the sample here in this cylinder that you can see. It's a compacted landfill that I think I showed you in this slide. This material that is right on the very right is inside this chamber. So this is the first stage, stimulation. Then we add calcium source plus urea and so on, and we treat it. So therefore the material here now has gone through 2 steps and is stabilized. So now we have done the test. First step is to make sure the bacteria has grown enough inside the sample. So the way we do it is that we get a hydrolyze of the urea that is out of the outflow. So, and as we can see, basically the initial hydrolyzing keeps increasing, means the bacteria is active. So that's good. So this is 4 cycles of running this liquid through. Then after that, the treatment cycle starts. So injection of calcium plus urea and so on. And then after we do that, so here we have measured the shear wave velocity of the compacted treated landfill. And as you can see from cycle 0, means without treatment, to 14 cycles of improvement, the stiffness of the soil or compacted landfill has increased from nearly, let's say, 50 to 300, 6 times increase, which is magnificent. So you stabilize the ground and increase the strength of it 6 times, nearly. Then that was this first test is a non-invasive test. So means we don't crush it to measure it. That gives a stiffness indication. Then we do a triaxial test that basically same as crushing the concrete. We put it in a chamber, we put the air pressure there, then you crush it. This is called triaxial test. It's a very established test in civil engineering. Then here we have done 2 tests. So these are very recent one. Actually, the NiCE has presented, given me this one last a few days, we got them actually. So here shows the strengths of the material, a stress and a strain relationship for the untreated and treated with this new, like a biocementation. Again, for around 15% of a strain, what you can see is that the strength that we report here is around 200, less than 200. And after treatment, the strength is 400. Potentially, this means, not potentially, what it shows is that the strength of the material, the actual strength, not the stiffness, is twice. This means the size of your foundation is half. So imagine, in addition to the use of cement, how much you can save in terms of casting concrete and so on for the foundation. So obviously, so the benefits that this project has, so what we have seen is that we can reduce the use of general purpose or Portland cement for construction. That has got a good motivation there, I guess, for everyone to use reduce the carbon footprint. Therefore, some of the developing or underdeveloped countries, plus particularly Pacific Island, that they don't have cement, they don't have that choice of using cement even. Therefore, this is what they have, urine, and so therefore they can use. And of course, this will also improve the environmental image of construction industry, which is not that, green. It addresses a fair bit of sustainable development goals. I don't think I will go through them. We can look at them. So which is quite exciting, and a few opportunities for collaboration. One is that if we can find other stimulation solutions or enzymes to basically create this enzyme, adding enzyme or other stimulation solutions. Something I proposed last year was anyone who can help to concentrate urea out of urine. We are so much interested to collaborate with you because we need that urea. Something else that just came to my mind listening is that because we add a calcium source as well, again, if some sort of calcium can be produced through this urine, doesn't have to be very pure that we can add. Again, we don't have to add extra calcium from other sources. So we are exploring other avenues, obviously, for tailings, paths, and other sort of materials for improvement, other construction materials such as brick, concrete, and so on. And of course, we can also look at using this for the soil moisture retention for agricultural purposes, but I don't think we will have time to cover it during the life of this NiCE hub, maybe post-NiCE. So thank you very much. That was a brief summary of what we have achieved so far. Thank you.
All right. I don't know what happened to time. I mean, it's supposed to be 10:40, but it's already 11:15. Somebody must have talked. Well, third and last update of this morning on Project 01. This is the only project that's still numbered according to the initial proposal. Whole of Systems Economics, Sayed Iftikhar from Griffith University.
Okay. Does it work? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Stefano, and thanks everybody for coming to this summit and listening to this presentation. I'm Saeed Iftekhar. I'm based at Griffith University. I'll be talking about one of the subcomponent or component of the NiCE Hub, which is focusing on the economic assessment and the whole of system economics of these UDTs and these technologies. So it's a modest size project, so we have only one PhD student and who's dedicated to this economics component of this project. So that's why we had to scope our project activities very well-defined way so that we do not go off track and we can deliver. So in a nutshell, we have divided the whole task into three main components. First one is about summarizing the knowledge, what we already know, but looking mostly from the economic and financial perspective regarding these technologies and products. Second component of our study or of our research is looking at especially the social benefit or non-market value or like non-financial values of these systems and products, because we already have quite a bit of information on the market values of these products, but what we do not know that how much people prefer or like how much people would like us to implement these technologies when we frame this in terms of non-monetary values. And the final one is linking many things together, which is bringing the learnings from the social surveys, systematic literature review, as well as the case study implementations going on to establish a framework to develop a business case and develop a cost-benefit analysis framework and actually apply those framework into some selected case studies. So these are the three items. So with the systematic review, we already have finished it, and that's published in Water Research. So GAM is the PhD student, as I mentioned before. So where we have tried to summarize the existing literature based on a systematic review. So what we tried to understand is the supply and the demand factor and the economic effectiveness. So we, as I said before, our focus is mostly on economics and financial aspects. So what we tried to capture is that what are the factors influencing supply and demand of UDTs and related products, and secondly is that how the economic performance and the potential of UDTs vary and compared to a conventional technologies. So GAM did a systematic review, and where we started very broad, as usually we do, like we applied a Prisma method. And so we started, you can see the top number is about 1,400. And then after applying through the exclusion criteria, selection criteria, and all these things, we ended up having only 64 peer-reviewed papers. So again, like there are many papers which are looking at the technical aspects, but we are mostly in the financial and economic aspects. And out of the 64 studies, only 18 have reported some sort of indicators, performance indicators with respect to economic performance. For example, net benefit or benefit cost ratios or net present value and all these things. So what are our main findings? So please feel free to read the paper, which is publicly openly available. But our main findings is that both supply and demand, there are factors affecting the supply and demand. And from the supply side, what in the literature said is that technical feasibility and performance is a key factor, key driving factor. Existing regulation is another driving factor. And then the financial benefit for the providers of these services or these technologies. These are the three key factors that we have identified in the literature. And from the demand side, social acceptance and consumer attitude, that's a key driving factor of acceptability of these technologies. Cost savings from the household perspective or from the consumer's perspective, that's also quite important. And also finally, environmental performance is also quite important. So environmental performance is an aspiration like from the consumer side, but it could be also related to the regulation because they are also looking into this. And all of these things factor influence the economic performance because ideally the economic performance should bring in both of these factors, both sides, supply and demand. So not many studies have looked at this. So only 18 studies included, which looked into the inclusion of monetized values onto the economic feasibility of such systems. And very few actually have conducted comprehensive cost-benefit analysis. Mostly they talked about in terms of cost effectiveness, which is the least cost approach. What is the least cost way to deliver something or get environmental benefits? Not so much on the net benefit side, where we bring both benefits and costs together. And then some of them look at just the cost aspect, like, okay, what is the total cost? What is the CapEx, OpEx on all these things? So what we have observed is that incorporation of the social and the non-market benefit is really important to driving or establishing the benefit of this as an evidence. So what we see that these red dots are where these studies have actually tried to capture as comprehensively as possible these benefits, and when they captured that, the benefit cost ratio is actually greater than 1. So that greater than 1 means is good, like benefit is more than the cost. So that also tells us that maybe as analyst or as a researcher, we are not doing a good job in terms of establishing the credibility in terms of financial and economic benefits. The technical aspects may be very solid, but in order to convince the decision makers, in order to convince the funders, we need to show and demonstrate that, okay, actually, this is a good thing for the society and it's worthy of making an investment. Okay, and this is purely taking the financial and economic aspects into capturing. So this is one of the highlights of our paper. We also looked into that some of the drivers of this, given that such a small sample size, only with 18 papers, we tried to do some correlation, nothing sophisticated analysis here. And where we say, look, where you observe is that the share of CapEx, the expenditure, initial investment, right, into these technologies, that usually, like, as the total cost of these kind of projects like increases, which is on the x-axis, this actually goes down. And so you can see that the average CapEx for a conventional system is about 42%, and utilities typically have, if you look at all the blue dots, they usually have a slightly more greater than the share. Okay, that is in terms of the share of the CapEx. But we see the opposite story when we look at the OpEx. OpEx is actually lower for utilities, which is actually a good thing. And some of the concerns previous speakers have mentioned is that maintenance, right? We establish the system, then who is going to maintain? So this is a good sign in a sense that it may be the cost might be lower than maintaining a conventional system. So at least with the current evidence we have. So it might be used as a to convince people. So it is important to engage these different stakeholders, different types of stakeholders. We need to develop a robust and convincing business case, but we need to assess these systems as comprehensively as possible to show the business case. And we need to also possibly look into the other social aspects, including education programs, for example, training, social communication. These kind of programs are quite important as well. Our review also highlights 2 key gaps, which are directly related to the other 2 components of our project. One of them is this non-market value. Some papers have talked about social preference and incorporated them in the investment analysis, but very few, none from Australia. So that's one that we are going to address this gap. And the second thing point is that very few studies comprehensive net benefit estimation, right? Only 18 so far, or at least last year. So that takes us to our second study, which is around social preference, where we are trying to understand how much people prefer in terms of like their willingness to pay, right? So that's a technical term to express their preferences in a monetary values, to understand this for these kind of features. And we are targeting 3 states, our project states, Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. And so that's the first objective, policy objective, but we also try some testing some variation in those preferences so that we can make some more theoretical contribution as well. So we will apply a choice experiment method, which is a very standard techniques in environmental economics technique, and then this will be survey-based method, and we apply it in all 3 states, which will allow us to estimate the marginal willingness to pay as a way of expressing their social preference. So we already have done some workshops, as Sean kindly mentioned, that we have done a number of consultative workshops with experts. First one was online, which was on many of you have attended there. And then we had an in-person workshop in Queensland, and we are in the process of organizing some community workshops because we want to test the whole survey instrument with the community before we go to our pilot. So once it's completed, we'll be able to assess or estimate the values, non-market values of selected features. Of course, in a survey, we can include many features, right? That's why it's very important for us to go through the workshops to select the key features. So we'll be able to identify those values, and hopefully that will be helpful in supporting the policymakers to give them more information, more evidence of social preferences. That brings me to the third one, which is the more directly towards the policy need, which is the business case and developing a comprehensive assessment framework or evaluation framework. So we already have there are existing frameworks, and for example, I worked in the past on the water sensitive urban design and developed a comprehensive evaluation framework. So this is what would be our starting point. But what we will be doing is that we'll be refining this conceptual framework, and we already have started collecting data. We already have done the literature review, but we are also going through this expert elicitation at the moment, which will help us to identify what are the key features or key aspects we need to include in the business case. And we demonstrate this CBA framework or cost benefit analysis framework through selected case studies. Depending on how far we can progress with the implementation of it. But otherwise, we'll develop some simulated or hypothetical case studies and do a comprehensive simulations to show the benefits or net benefit of this. And yeah, so that's where we are at. Thank you very much for listening, Stefano.
Okay, so let's we can do certainly up to 10 minutes if needed. We have 20 minutes for morning tea. We shortened the morning tea a little bit, but these discussions are quite important. So opening the floor for also to questions, ideas, and discussions. And you guys can stay here because you might be the targets. Here, it's for the video. Okay. So you're the tallest, so oh, we don't have that much time, so yeah.
I've got a question for you, Stefano. Have you thought about using the Mona digestate artwork that they feed food scraps into and produce food? There's a art modern and new art in Hobart, and they actually produce poo on a schedule every day. Is there some kind of collaboration or community involvement where we could be collecting poo that this artwork produces if it's a similar composition?
Okay, yeah, I didn't think about it. That might be, that is real poo. It's fed with real food. Yeah.
And it could be good. I had exactly the same thought. I have it open as well. It's called the cloaca. And because we've been talking this morning about science communication as well, if there was some kind of collaboration with the art gallery, that would be fantastic. And some kind of year-round diversion that could happen at the museum as well. It could be, yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, it's in Hobart.
Yeah.
And it's also like,
It's the best art exhibition ever.
I think bringing in the arts into the like NiCE hub in some capacity is like a really good
We
way.
have a nice salute, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Where are the microbes in your synthetic poo? It was only a chemical recipe.
Yeah. So they come from the treatment plant. So we seed it with sludge from the real sludge in the treatment.
Oh, you seed it. I was going to say, because nowhere did I see, let alone the contaminants, the pharmaceuticals. So you've got a nice mix of microbes and contaminants in there.
I also have a question for you. Regarding the project on how urine diversion affects the treatment of the remaining wastewater. Have you thought or considered the influence of temperature in the activated sludge process? Because I think depending on the outcome with the hydraulic retention and the hydraulic effects treatment, it could be a bit of an opportunity for Nordic countries, because normally the activated sludge process is very temperature sensitive. So nitrogen is quite difficult. Quite often they have to discharge the wastewater, treated wastewater with a higher nitrogen content because they can't treat it. So I'm wondering if that has really thought about like the temperature.
That's a nice idea, and we didn't do it, and now we don't have time to do, but through a little student project, this could be something nice to look at, because nitrification is really the one that is impacted by temperature, and because we are not needing to nitrify as much. Problem is we still need to remove that ammonia down to the same levels. The kinetics are determined by the final concentration. So I have a feel that those limitations will remain. But it will be interesting to look at it experimentally. Wait, it's not always time. So, Dana and
I also had a similar related question for you. I did love all the presentations. I loved hearing these updates. But it was also around thinking about other trends that are happening with changing profile of sewage, like, you know, with less detergents going down, so you're going to have, you know, less phosphates, and increasing demand management, so less water going down. So it's also going to change concentrations. So thinking about removing urine in the context of other changes that are also happening, just whether you're thinking about that as well.
yes, I mean, it's something that we are aware of, and within the time frame we have available, we can't look at it, but certainly, yeah, looking at sewage of the future is it's something important. And I reviewed the documents produced by a consultancy for the Victorian government on impacts of climate change on wastewater treatment. And there's quite a lot of things, and some of it is not really linear or straightforward. So there's going to be a lot of changes that not only because of people's awareness and willingness to do things more green, but also climate change will just change the conditions in sewers as well. So this could be a nice project looking at all these future scenarios.
Yeah. And the other thing was following on as well what Kerry said. I also had the same thought with the cloaca. Have you thought about, and maybe it's too far away, because, you know, like say in Sweden or Germany or Switzerland, they do have a lot of systems. I know when I was living in Sweden, there was a whole municipality that had mandated all new toilets had to be urine diversion. Whether have they done any studies on impacts on performance and wastewater treatment or wastewater treatment plants? Have you looked at what's happening in
Well, we've done a very, very comprehensive literature review, and we haven't found.
No one's.
Maybe it's not published, but it would be.
It could be done.
It's great literature.
I mean, if it was done on a whole municipality, then someone would know. It could be just local knowledge, not published. But it would be interesting to dig that out. I think might be some conference presentations that are not searchable with the usual databases.
Yeah, I can ask her. I mean, over there, if she would know if there was something.
Be interesting. So yeah, with
A comment or maybe a small question to Beza. So one of the last slides you had where you showed that you're looking for methods to concentrate urea from urine. Did you consider using some sort of high surface area solvents like GAC or biochar or some sort of nanomaterial or something that could concentrate urea from urine, and then once it is concentrated, then you can dissolve or recover that?
Short answer is no. So actually my background is not into environmental and those activities. So I've been talking to our environmental team to see what techniques they have, but I don't think we will be able to do it within our small team, like in this project. But if someone has tried and knows how those technique works with a good with chemistry, I think we love to collaborate with them. But let's talk then. Yes, I love that. Let's talk to them.
Sheriff?
For data. And your ammonia is a problem, you said, right?
Yeah.
So, and you're looking at the fresh urea for your biosegmentation. But it's not the urea that you want. What you want is the carbon, right? Bicarbonate, that's what you want. So if you have a hydrolyzed urine and you remove ammonia through other processes, distillation or something like that, remove completely ammonia, that's NH3, and then you have only carbonate there. So if you use that, is it possible? It does not. But calcium has to come from some level.
Yes, this will. So, but the issue there is that if you want to cement something right there, it will work. But what we need is that we want this process to happen inside the soil. Right? So as soon as the calcium touches the bicarbonate, it forms a cement. Right? So therefore, if we already have the if we already have this bicarbonate, let's say inside the soil, as soon as we inject the calcium exactly in that location, will clog the system. That's why this whole process of hydrolyzing should happen inside the soil. If I'm right, NiCE, is it good simple way of explaining this?
Yes, so with our technique, we allow the solution to pass into greater depths so that it covers greater area for cementation.
Okay.
Quick one. For the calcium, just to promote that circular economy further, there's lots of sources of calcium carbonate, like from shells, discarded shells from oysters and mussels. White Bay Water was using those as a sort of a fertilizer supplement, but it could be I was thinking of the idea of a marketplace for circular economy. We're producing this. Who's got some calcium? It'd be a great thing for you to model, say, it economically. A circular economy marketplace that NiCE triggers.
I just have one very small question to say. What were the boundaries of the system that you?
Oh, I had the same question. Thank you.
That's so you're talking about the third stage of this study. Yeah, that's would be driven by mainly the case studies, but we try to capture at least all the major types of benefits and cost of the system. Now, the catchment area, user group, and then timeline that will be driven by the case study themselves. Depending on the economics.
I have one question for you, Stefan. I think here one aspect possibly for collaboration, I'm not sure, is that when you divert the urine from pipelines, let's say gets to treatment plant and so on, does this potentially change the corrosion rate of the pipelines? Because this one we do fair bit in civil engineering for acidic environment and so on, but that's another huge cost if it's gonna impact the pipeline transferring this.
Good question. We're going to assess that. We did analysis using modeling with Sean because the sewer corrosion, like concrete sewers, the corrosion is starting from H2S formation, which then gets oxidized to sulfuric acid in the aerobic phase, the upper wall of the sewer, which then corrodes the concrete. And so our modeling shows that, well, you must know that urine contributes a fair bit of sulfate into the soup. So you actually, by diverting urine, you reduce sulfate. But the effects are not that great, simply because this is all kinetically limited. The H2S is formed very slowly, then gets released slowly So it doesn't really matter you have less. Our modeling showed that you pretty much corrode the sewer in the same way, but not worse. But this now with this experiment, we will just recirculate our synthetic sewage through a pipe and then divert urine and assess the H2S in the rising main, as well as H2S release in the gas phase as a way to assess corrosion potential. We won't be doing coupons and things like that, but with all corrosion is left by H2S formation, so we'll assess that. Okay, we must stop because we need to restart in 7 minutes. We don't want to be too late for restart because it's a really densely packed program. So, okay, get your fingers in, get your coffees in, and we'll restart in 8 to 9 minutes.
I was gonna say, I need to send my the slides.
Do you have a?
Not a USB, but
You can
I
send me
email?
by. Yeah.
Can I get your email address? I sent you one.
Yeah.
That's what the last session for.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send that out. May I change to my second talk? So I just would like to edit it. Wait, summit presentations. And the second one that will replace session 2. So that replace directly that one. See if it's correct.
Jason would be not for business, not people. Vendano probably do.
그게 이제 홍콩 가면서 이제 계속 이쪽 팀들이 또 별도의 팀하고 쉐어를 하면
Provision, yeah, exactly. Which is important, like it's important to have those regulations.
We have to do the ethics. Survey. It's pretty common. If it has a minimum that points, so if you use it, you might speak. It should be So, and I think we don't have That's right.
I just didn't have much to do with the
Last day of we can like I said, I can be
Can you change anything for that one?
Yeah. Next. 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 Oh, who gets two? Okay, this. Again, I made 2 and 3. This 2. So I flipped it there. And that was 3. Yeah, that's right. So if they ask question, you have to answer, okay? Because I don't know. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I. this one. Yeah. No need, only one slide. Okay. So the schedule is a little bit late or?
Schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit late. Delayed a little bit.
Okay.
But I think we're starting from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, later. Whatever. Yeah. Just some dry. So who's gonna hear? Yeah, there. That's the best place to fair.
Donna, you wanna take that? There?
I'm Jason.
Yeah.
Right, so. Ready? Let me know if you're talking to the right.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take a class and do it. Which we have, maybe we can get some jazz music. Yeah, we've got people.
The writing sound good. I never expected you can make this sound.
All right, thank you, everyone.